Welcome to the 1 week and a few hours until opening day edition of Sharing Sox. I am Side Sox duty geezer Lee Allen, along with my son, West Coast correspondent Will, who will actually be seeing the Sox in person probably long before anybody else who's listening to or watching this, because he actually got tickets to the series out in LA. How'd you pull that off?
I'm lucky. The Angels just did if you register on our website, put in your email, you're eligible for pre-sale. So I was actually, it was possible to get tickets to all 4 games this morning. I can actually still get tickets to all the games, but I only went for Sunday to start. I might add on as I go, but I had to be there to support my boy Dylan Cease, shut down Cease.
Game number 4.
Game number 4, ESPN, the spotlight. I'm going to be there. I got my seats right by the bullpen. So before the game, Dylan and I will be able to chat about his game plan, what he's thinking about doing, maybe his ideal date, what he likes to do on a Sunday afternoon before a game on a day he's not pitching. Just get to know each other a little bit more.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So I'm very excited. The stadium's going to be only 9,000 people are going to be permitted. I have 2 seats to myself, which I'm actually very excited about as someone who likes to have a little space and get settled. I'm going to be able to really sit back and relax, but I am very excited that I'm going to be going to a baseball game in 10 days, which is, I can't believe it. 10 days going to a Major League Baseball
That's true.
game.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Really.
And if you're out by the bullpen, now, of course, you are the great believer in Dylan Cease.
That's right.
He's had one excellent performance and one pretty bad one so far this spring, and we'll have another couple of chances before he actually pitches for real. My estimation is that in the bullpen, you'll get to meet all kinds of people out there. Probably Kopech will be up and working, and Crochet and Bummer. And...
Why would they be working on their off day? They clearly aren't going to pitch because Dylan always goes 9. So I'm curious as to why you think, because it's just like their regular workout day. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
We call it a side.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, though, the problem is they'll probably all just be in the dugout because they're not working. Yeah. They probably won't even be in the bullpen. No, I know. I'm likely to see some action. I'm hoping that our first 3 starters pitch so well. Everyone is very fresh for Sunday's game. And I get to see all of them except Hendricks. I don't want to see Hendricks just because I want to be up by 15 runs by the 9th inning.
But the other reason you wouldn't see Hendricks is if you're losing. So that the reasoning is not complete right there. I'm not seeing Hendricks.
No. See, your logic is still flawed. You said losing, which is not possible on a day Dylan Cease pitches. You're so messed up. It must be that second Moderna shot that's got you foggy.
Speaking of the first 3 pitchers, obviously Giolito's just been lights out from the first pitch that he's thrown this spring. Lynn, control problems his first 2 times, got hit at some third time. He's got 2 more outings to go. We're recording this before Wednesday's game, which he would be starting. So we're hoping that he kind of straightens it out there. It's nothing terrible, but I'm sure not as good a set of performances as he would have liked. Keuchel, and again, it's just mysterious to me why he started so late, without any explanation from the team really of why that happened. But his first outing, of course, was awful, just absolutely awful, which made you wonder, man, was he out with COVID and he hasn't got his strength back, or was he out because his back spasms are acting up, whatever? But then his pitching on Tuesday was just excellent. 13 batters in 4 innings.
Yeah, he really turned it around, which is huge because honestly, and I know this is going to sound crazy, Keuchel's kind of my biggest question mark in the rotation right now. And that's just because he's older and he has injury problems. And last year felt a little bit like a fluke. Not entirely. Keuchel's a great pitcher. Obviously, he's a Cy Young winner. But I definitely had some concerns. And when he came back and just looked absolutely terrible, I started thinking, oh boy, we might.
I was, of course, if you're a White Sox fan, you worry.
You do.
That's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was going, boy, this is really not good. He doesn't show up. And then he just gets clobbered. Now he did not go deep on Tuesday, which is too bad because usually he's got one more before his first assignment of the real baseball, and usually that one's a kind of limited pitch kind of situation. They kind of rest their way into the opening day, and he only had fewer than 60 pitches on Tuesday, I think. Unfortunately, with this bare bones statcast, we really get nothing that's of any importance statistically, so I'm not really sure. But so he didn't pitch that much, but he was pitching, unlike many appearances, including Cease's terrible one, against major leaguers. It was pretty much the Cubs' starting lineup.
Yeah, it was. And actually, I think we've seen a lot of good things this week in terms of who might actually be playing for the White Sox and who might be playing against the White Sox. And, I've been pretty vocal throughout this whole spring training that I think it's just been a joke the way this year's spring training has been. And this week was kind of the first week where I felt like, okay, we're going to start to see something here. And it was great, especially on Monday, to see essentially the starting lineup go out there and Lucas Giolito and just look great. So I actually will be sailing into my seats in Anaheim next week in really, really good, positive mood, I think, about what we're seeing, even though Cease had a questionable outing, which we know is a fluke because he's
because he only does that 2 out of 3 times.
Yeah, exactly. But Keuchel was definitely very reassuring seeing him come out yesterday.
Rodon was really sharp again.
Rodon, I mean, if the Rodon thing holds, that is going to be the game changer for the White Sox because Rodon has looked excellent. Excellent. And if Rodon goes from being the guy we hoped could fill the 5 spot to the guy who's performing like a 2 or a 3, then you're talking about the White Sox having real serious World Series contention in 2021. If we're looking at 4 starters, 4.5 if Cease ends up being kind of what we more realistically expect him to be, that's a recipe for a championship team. So if Rodon keeps up and stays healthy, whoa, that's a game changer for us.
Meanwhile, while we're on pitchers, Reynaldo López got sent down. He's going to spend a nice summer in Schaumburg.
They have a lovely IKEA nearby, so
that's important.
He'll be able to finish.
It's probably about 3 years too late for sending him down, but it's there. I don't know what they're going to do with him at any point. I maybe work him as a reliever, practice going an inning or 2 at a time. He was going to be the long guy, apparently, and maybe they won't think long guy anymore, just think short guy. But boy, it was his last time. Now, that was the one game all spring where we've had actual StatCast because Arizona was the home team, and they've apparently brought all of the stuff from their regular stadium down the street to their spring stadium.
Yeah.
So we had total information. And his fastest fastball was 93.6, and he only had 2 of those. And everything else was around 91. And this is a guy who's thrown a consistent 96. And even when he's bad, he's thrown a consistent 96, 97 with the occasional 98 or so.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to wonder if the next time you see Reynaldo López in the news, the word surgery won't be connected to it in somehow, not necessarily Tommy John, but something, his shoulder, his wrist.
Yeah, something's up.
Something's wrong.
Yeah, if he's throwing around 91, I mean, Reynaldo López throwing at 91 is just meat and potatoes for Major League Baseball players. It's not enough, and it tells you that he's really not gonna be back up in the show anytime soon, unless there's an injury that he can get fixed. Because he's not going to do us any good throwing 91 miles an hour. And I would love to see him sort of revamped as a short-term reliever. I don't know why they're so hung up on this Reynaldo López can go the distance as a long reliever thing. He's shown no sign of that, of ever being good at that, of ever being able to do that. So I think for Lopez's sake, the best thing would be to try to work him in Schaumburg as a short stint reliever and see what happens there. Because if he's throwing long innings, but he's throwing 91 right down the center, he's just going to get smoked in the big leagues.
Now that leaves an opening on the pitching staff.
Right.
Reliever number 8. Not a critical opening. It would be the guy that you hope you very, very seldom have to use.
Sure.
But somebody needs to get that position. The most experienced, the one who was up last year and was not good last year and has been horrible all spring, is Jose Ruiz. Could be the choice. Ruiz has no options left, which means when you bring him up and then you get rid of him no later than when Jace Fry comes back. I'm not a huge Jace Fry fan, but compared to Jose Ruiz, I'm a Jace Fry fan.
Right.
Then he's gone because they'll have to put him on waivers and somebody will pick him up. Speaking of picking up, the Sox, for reasons, tell me if you can comprehend this, signing Nick Turley, picking him up on waivers. You're taking a pitcher who was put on waivers by not just the worst team in baseball right now, but the worst team in baseball possibly ever in the history of the major leagues. Really, they could have the worst record in major league history. And so the Pirates let him go, and we picked this clown up.
Yeah, no clue.
This is one of the, you talk about diving into the dumpster.
Yeah, no clue on this one. Yesterday I've become friends with Gracie Cashman, Brian Cashman's daughter. She's an actor out here in LA and refers to Kenny Williams as Uncle Kenny. So maybe I can have her shoot Uncle Kenny a text. She's a delight. I'm sure she would actually do it. But other than asking someone from the organization, I have no clue why we would sign this guy.
And I'm curious as to why she calls, you had mentioned this to me earlier, why she calls Kenny Williams Uncle Kenny. I even looked it up to see if he and her dad had crossed professional paths at any point, and they haven't. I'm sure they met at the winter meetings for many years and whatnot. But
yeah, I think
neither has been involved with the other's team at any time.
Cashman really kind of worked his way up through that organization. Grace was saying that he started in the Yankees in college, which is really an amazing ascent to being the successful GM he is. And so he's been around the game a really long time. And according to Grace, it just really seems like Kenny Williams is a super nice guy. And Cashman seems like a really, really nice guy as well. Just kind of normal.
Isn't nice to say about a Yankee, but
which, yeah, I'm not a big Yankee guy. I focus all my hate on the Cubs these days, but it sounds like Kenny Williams just a really lovely guy, and they became friends. And I don't know that I can influence trades yet via Grace's Uncle Kenny, but I'm certainly going to work my way up to that level. When we're in here taping auditions, I'll just start like subtly saying get Fernando Tatis back. Get Fernando Tatis back.
I don't think that's under Cashman's control, technically speaking.
Not under Cashman's, but maybe Uncle Kenny can do something. Back
to the actual baseball team. So we got an opening. I don't really think it should be Ruiz. They're a bunch of guys with 0.00 ERAs this spring, but none of them pitched more than maybe 3 or 4 innings. Carter was excellent the other day. Showed something. Kubat's been good a few times out, but I don't know who I presume if they have to go to a multi-inning reliever, that the first choice will be Michael Kopech.
Yeah, definitely will be.
And the second choice would, Well, Garrett would be the second choice.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately it's probably going to be Kopech and then committee. I think they're in a situation now where you can bring in Kopech and hope to get 3 or 4, but if anything goes wrong, you're just throwing a new guy every inning, which is bad news, except for when you're the White Sox, because we're going to have 7 good relievers. And then 8th guy who exists. So the hope is, that's enough for us. And it should be. I mean, our bullpen it's insane. And Cody Hoyer just looks great. And it's going to be really, really interesting to see how that plays out. But I have no answer for who this 8th person should be right now. None whatsoever. And
you're not going with Nick Turley?
No, oddly enough, I'm not. I'm sad to see Lopez's decline and whatnot, but it really is the right call to send him away, and hopefully someone else just pleasantly surprises us like Rodon has in the starting category. But I'm not too concerned about it right now, just because the other 7 are so.
And you're really looking for garbage time. You're looking for somebody to eat some innings in garbage time.
Yeah, you're looking for the guy where the starter got crushed and needs to get out of the game in the 4th, and there's no reason to really try to come back from that 9-run deficit. And you're looking for the guy who's going to pitch those.
And I think there's going to be some heavy use of the pen early, both because there always is before starters build up innings, but also I think Keuchel, I don't think he's going to pitch very long.
No, I think
if you get 5 innings out of him, that's going to be a big deal. If you get 5 innings out of Cease, it's going to be a really big deal.
Oh, allegedly.
And then maybe 6 out of Rodon, and the other 2 guys can probably easily go 6 or 7 off the start as long as they're having a decent day.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
we better take a break. We've been talking about pitching, which has been a very interesting week in pitching, and sad to see Biceps Cordero go down as well with surgery, but I wish him the best and hope to see him back. But let's take a quick break. And with Adam Engel's injury, we got a spot to fill. So we'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Sharing Sox. We talked about pitching. We talked your ear off about how great Dylan Cease is going to be, and we're both in agreement on that. So now we're moving on to the hitters / fielders. Adam Engel is the unfortunate injury of the week. Very unfortunate, actually, for us. What do you have about this development?
Well, they say 2 to 4 weeks, and usually when somebody in sports says 2 to 4 weeks, they mean 4.
Yeah.
So you're talking about missing the first couple. They certainly go on the IL, so that's at least 10 days and probably another week into the season. So at least 2 or 3 weeks of regular season. You have to bring up an outfielder. I think it's going to be Billy Hamilton. We had both talked some time back about, boy, Nick Williams is really looking good, and he's continued to look fairly good at the bat, but he can't play center field.
No.
And so if anything were to happen, even a little, in-game thing, he slides into a base wrong and hurts his toe to Luis Robert, your choice would be to put either Leury in center or move Adam Eaton over to center. The Sox have done both of those things before with disastrous results. This is not an experiment to be repeated. I think you use Hamilton. He's got other uses. Speed, if you got if Jose gets to third base with less than 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th of a tie game, I think Hamilton goes on third.
So what do you think? You think I mean, obviously, we're thinking we want to start Eloy in left, or start Eloy in left and start Andrew Vaughn at DH. Or are you thinking we start Billy Hamilton in left and Eloy at DH?
No, I think now that's one thing we haven't talked about. But Bob Nightingale, who writes down whatever the Sox tell him to write down. He's not really a reporter, though he pretends to be. But he's a scribe, as they say.
Right.
It's saying that Vaughn will come up immediately. So if Vaughn's up immediately, I think he DHs immediately. until
Yeah, I
such
think
time as
so
he
too.
proves
I
that he
think we're
doesn't
gonna
have enough
see.
experience.
I think we're gonna see an extension pretty shortly for Andrew Vaughn. I do think we are gonna see that happen, especially now that we kind of need him up and can't play the service time game. I think we're going to see an extension for Vaughn, which will be great. It will lock down our young core for years, which would be very exciting for us.
So I think you start out, you've got Eloy. Eloy does play left until he proves that he just can't do it. And Robert can cover immense amounts of ground. So,
I mean, we know that
you
to
know,
be true. We've seen it.
but you start Eloy and Robert and Eaton. Eaton theoretically was going to be be sharing time with Engel, but he's hit lefties fairly decently this spring. If that continues for a few games that we're not going to face that many lefties because people don't want to pitch him against us anyway. But
right.
If it comes up that he's hitting lefties, then that's fine. If not, Hamilton could go into the outfield and take over that spot. I think so. You've got the four outfielders. Then you've got around the infield, the four guys who were around the infield last year, plus Vaughn and Lauri. So that's 6. So that's 10, which leaves 3 spots, which are going to be Grandal, Lucroy.
Say it.
Well,
say it.
If it's not Zach Collins, Zach is hitting well. And I have said that we haven't gotten to see a whole lot of video this spring, but
yeah,
what I've seen, he used to swing like his only goal in life was to see if he could put one in the parking lot behind the right field seats.
right.
He's not swinging like that, I don't think. I think he's hitting more intelligently this spring. Now, will that continue when real games are here and the pitchers are really trying to get him out? I don't know, but I think he's making a more intelligent approach at the plate than he has in the past. And if he does that, he may be fine.
Yeah, I think you're right. And, we are seeing some improvement, and there's a reason they keep bringing Collins back and they keep wanting to try to make him work. He's got a skill set there that can be very valuable, especially as a lefty, to the White Sox. And, I think this spring is going to be his final sort of major league test. And we're going to see him get a fair shot in the pros. And if he does well, he'll stick around. But I have been a lot more impressed with him this spring than offensively than I have previously. So I definitely think he's going to be on the roster, much to your chagrin, on opening day. I do think that's going to happen.
Well, we both voted for him to be on the roster for the playoffs last year and sit way down at the end of the bench and not bother anybody.
That's true.
Simply because they could then use a 2-catcher combination as DH and catcher. That could be a circumstance again against a right-handed pitcher if it's a Lucroy catching day, that Grandal gets the DH job for that day.
Certainly.
And then you need an emergency backup catcher unless you're going to, because you don't want to lose the DH. It's not the end of the world if you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So, and maybe he'll get some innings catching. And again, if they're 10 runs ahead or behind, maybe he'll get some innings in at that point defensively as well. That's a real problem.
Yeah.
He loses the chance. And Collins also can play a little first base. He did either last year or the year before. And but that with Vaughn in, that's gone. Vaughn will be the guy playing first base.
100%. Yeah.
If Jose is out for some reason. So, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty impressive lineup, really. I mean, just everybody stays healthy. Not gonna.
I mean, in the dream world, Zach Collins comes out in 2021 absolutely slashing, just monstrous numbers to start, so we can trade him for something, which I know is not exactly the most positive outlook. But if he comes out and is really showing some stuff, you could be looking at some interesting trade potentials involving Zach Collins.
There could be an interesting one right now with Mercedes.
Yeah, that's true. I don't see it really happening, but it could. It could. Yeah, I think Collins is going to be a little more appealing if he comes out doing well. But yeah, we'll see. We only got 1 week to go.
The best hitter in spring training by far on the Sox is Perez, the number 6 or 7 catcher, the young guy. He said he has one at bat and hit a double.
He is batting 1,000 with an RBI and a run. So
and a what is ops of 3,000.
Yeah, so basically I think we know who our final roster spot's going to go to. Look at this. This is pretty funny though. I'm looking at the stats right here. The 5 of the top 6 spring training batting averages for the White Sox catchers.
Are catchers.
Perez, Mercedes. Now I know Perez only had 1 at bat, but Perez, Mercedes, Lucroy, Zavala. Then you've got Adam Eaton, and then Zach Collins. This is so confusing for me as someone who came into this feeling like I had some idea of what this would look like. To have 5 catchers in the top 6, have the 6th person be Adam Eaton, and none of those catchers are Yasmani Grandal.
No, who's not hitting well at all.
Who's hitting horribly. He's hitting 222. He's only played 6 games, so we've seen virtually no.
Yeah, I mean, he got
Grandal.
the very, very late start because of the knee.
Yeah, we're seeing good stuff out of Eloy and out of Moncada. Madrigal's coming around. We're seeing some hitting from Vaughn. We're still seeing very little from Jose Abreu. It's hitting down at 205. Danny Mendick, I think, is putting his best effort in to not play Major League Baseball this year.
Yeah, he hit a homer on Tuesday, but basically before that, he just wasn't there. And he wasn't even good defensively.
Hitting
in the few games that I've seen, he was not playing well defensively.
And of course, at the bottom of the list, unfortunately, is Billy Hamilton, who we have just said we would like on our team. However, he does possess a speed that is unmatched by pretty much anyone not named Luis Robert on this team.
One strange thing that happened, I don't know if you saw this game. There was a game that he played where twice he was walked on 4 pitches. And I thought, who the hell walks Billy Hamilton?
I know.
Unless he's fouled off 63 pitches. Who walks Billy Hamilton? What are you afraid of here?
Yeah.
You're afraid of putting him on first because he's going to be on second in 3.2 seconds.
I would just throw it right down the center every single time. I would challenge Billy Hamilton like nobody's business. I realize that a single is often a double with him, but I'm not sure he can hit singles.
Walk.
So a walk is a double too. Yeah, it's really strange, but I think that's about all the time we have for today. You got any final thoughts here on Sharing Sox?
No, next time we get together, it will be opening day eve.
Opening day eve. And I feel like we will know a little bit more about our roster. And maybe, who knows, I will have secured some opening day tickets somehow at that point. And I'll come at you after seeing some games live at our following podcast. So not next week, but the one after that, I will have attended some baseball games. And I can't believe I get to say that in 2021. That is great news. Everyone stay healthy, stay safe, and we will see you at the ballpark, I think, in this upcoming year. Awesome. See ya.